got some interesting questions today on the monthly Q&A for Model Railroading. Hey everybody, my name's Jimmy. I am drinking some Maker's Mark brand, if you know that, that's Sam's Club brand, and this is Coffee and Trains.
Real quick, this video is brought to you by Model Railroad Academy. It is an online community of model railroaders where members can get all sorts of tips, tricks, tutorials, ideas for all sorts of model railroad related things. It's got a lot of cool stuff in there that can really get you going on model railroading. And if you are looking to join up, the first 1,000 people that use the link in my description will get a full year of premium membership to Model Railroad Academy for $1.49. That's like 90% off the annual membership, and this offers valid for new members only. Thank you so much to Model Railroad Academy for supporting this video.
If you want to tell me what kind of coffee you are drinking and be featured just like these guys right here, you can do that in the comments below, and who knows, you might see your name pop up on an episode of Coffee and Trains. Also, this is the monthly Q&A. I will tell you how at the end of this video to get your questions in. Cheers, guys. Alexander Holrichter asked about development of new models. Specifically, he's talking about people itching for the new Ario, I don't know how to pronounce that, train sets. I really should know how to pronounce that. But he's asking if there's a better way to find out about developing a model set and what manufacturers are doing it. Well, there's a couple of things you can do. First of all, I would sign up for pretty much any newsletter out there from a manufacturer. That's the first place you're gonna know if they're making something. There's also publications like Model Railroad News. That's another place to look. And there's even like special things like Broadway Limited has their Conductors Club, which is a paid club, $30 a year. And one thing you do get access to is a newsletter. I am a member of Conductors Club, and that newsletter is way more detailed in terms of what's coming out in the far future versus what you just get in their normal thing. So you learn about things when they're way more in the development stage in that. But if I'm looking at the Ttrack specifically, I'm looking at probably Bachmann, Kato, Walthers, Rapido might do it too. Those are the brands that I am looking at to see if anyone's going to make them. So I would watch those companies and sign up for their email newsletters. Dan Hickman says, would it be better to have locomotives of the same brand, Broadway Limited, Atlas, in a DCC consist so they're working together and not pulling each other and potentially burning out their motors? So this is kind of a tough question because it really depends on the models that you get. One thing that I have found out that is if you get them from the same batch that they were created in, they're going to be more similar. I got a set of scale trains, ES44s or ET44, I can't remember. I'll put the video up here really quick, but I got these, and these were the closest I have ever had a set of locomotives that I've bought. And this has not happened with anything like Kato, which is very reliable, Bachmann, Broadway Limited. This is not necessarily what matters perfectly. What really matters with not burning each other's motors out is speed matching, which is a process you have to do in DCC programming. So that's what you really have to look for not burning out motors, is you have to match the locomotive. So not necessarily just the same brands, because even the same brands may not run together well. Durbinator94 asks, what are my top 3 Inscale YouTube channels that I follow? Now I actually did a video where I talked about all sorts of YouTube channels that I like, but specific to Inscale, ones that I've gotten the most out of are Ron's Trains and Things. Steve's Trains is one that I really like, and all of these micro layouts that he does. I think if you haven't seen Steve's Trains, go check it out. And one that I've watched recently is Inscaler 454. That's another one. I can't just do 3. There's like Inscale Dystopia. There's a lot. They're all on that video. Just go check them out. Yeah, so there's a lot of those out there. I can't narrow it down to just 3. I watch a lot of them. Nick Van Dam at 1214 asks, is it possible to do a Helix with 027 track, or would that grade be too much? So here's the thing with 027 and Lionel. It's not meant to be realistic. I don't think it would work. Personally, let me just go ahead and get that out there. I put it in the computer and it did the math on it. It came out to about like a 7.5–8% grade to clear the 6 inches that you would need, and that's quite a grade. So theoretically, if you had certain locomotives with no cars on them, it might be able to get up there, but I really don't think that 027 is gonna do that, because it's got to be a 6-inch rise, and nah, I don't think so. Maybe try 036. But yeah, I think 027 is going to be there. I think 036 is going to be a little bit too. The O scale Helixes that I've seen have been 72-inch radius. So yeah, so that's going to be really tight. But you know, it could work with certain engines, but I don't think it's going to be reliable. Robert Lucido 3686 asks if I plan on doing a loop of track on my HO scale layout with 22-inch radius around it. So the folding layout that I did is an 18-inch radius, and I don't think so. I really like the way it is, and I've kind of built it out into a way that I like. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do a 22-inch radius. I think that would be ideal because then I could run pretty much anything, but I don't know, maybe. 88-bit Cube 50 asks if I know of any model train repair shops that also do respray work, and I don't know specifically of any that do respray work. That may be something to go look up online. A lot of guys will offer this kind of service, something that you can mail the engines to. I mean, even if you look at I think there's, was it Weather My Trains? They'll weather your engines. You can buy them through them. So, but that's what I would look for, is look for someone. It may be something as simple as a Facebook page or a simple website. It may be something where you mail your engines off to do that. But I do not know any of anything specific, but if I was looking somewhere, Facebook groups, things like that, that's where I would start. You also ask, when it comes to Inscale, do you think there should be more variety? For example, Santa Fe Baldwin Locomotive 5011. So, obviously, I want more variety. I would love every option, but I also know that a lot of times the projects that model railroad manufacturers take on are propped up by some of their more stable selling products. Like, for instance, I know Broadway Limited, when they do a new project, a lot of times it's funded, a couple of projects can be funded by doing another run of a big boy. So you're going to see some projects, but a lot of times you're going to see reruns with different numbers and things like that. I wish there was some more variety, but we also have a pretty good variety in Inscale, I think. Inscale is the number 2 in the market. It's got about 28% of the model railroad market from the last time that I checked. Compare that to HO scale at 60%. So, and then the rest of them round out that remaining percentage. But it's tough because we do have a good variety. I think we have a really good variety in modern locomotives. The older stuff, I think you see a lot of like F units and Jeeps and things like that, but a few more of the Alco locomotives and things like that. And I would like to see a few more of the mid-size and smaller steamers that are a little bit more unique. All Good Days 1 asks, what are my thoughts on iTrain? This is actually something that I saw used for the first time down in South Carolina, in Greer, South Carolina. And right now, the layout name escapes me. I'll put it right here. But I took my son down there. It was about an hour drive for me. And it was just such a cool place. If you're ever in Greenville, Spartanburg, and you're a model railroad nut and you got a car, go check this place out. It has loads of layouts in pretty much every scale, even T scale. I tried to get a video, but I didn't record it right. You can, yeah. But it's a really cool place. There's also some restaurants there, a brewery there, all in this space. So it's really, really cool. You also asked what software I use that you see me use on this. So the one that I used to use for PC is SCARM, but now the one that I use for Mac, which is what I'm on, is Rail Modeler Pro. The Pro version is a $30 one-time fee, and you can use it on multiple computers, and it's really, really good, actually. I really enjoy it. K Miller Dev X3 asks if I've tried the DCC EXDC PWM mode, which is Pulsewidth modulation, by the way. It seems like it could be a good middle ground for running both on one layout. I have not tried that, but I want to try it. I need to get another shield so that I can do that. But yeah, that's something that I want to try. I have a couple of other really cool ideas for doing DC and DCC together. So there's some things out there that I want to do. And yeah, that's one of the things that I want to try. I want to try to integrate DC and DCC because I do think there are some times that DC is actually better. Southern Belt LLC asks, what size strength section of Ttrack module would we recommend for a Kato turntable and a small roundhouse engine shop set up with room for a Kato big boy and UP passenger fleet, and still pass through the standard double track main without going into custom designing and building a model. That's going to be tough. I would say you're probably going to have to go with a quad. If you're looking at a big boy, first of all, the big boy will not fit on the Kato turntable. I think the Kato turntable is 217 millimeters. So, I mean, it might total, and the bridge, the actual turntable itself is 160 millimeters. So that's going to be really, really tough to do. So I would not say I'm going to do that for a big boy. I would say you're going to have to go with a quad module, probably, to get all of that space in, because you're going to have enough to like really get out and away. But you're looking at probably, yeah, a quad module is going to be about the only way to do it. You may be able to get it in a triple, but this is a triple right here. So, and that would be really tough. So a quad module, or you may have to go even longer with that. So you may have to do a custom module and design, but I don't even know if you can find a quad. So the triple might be the way you have to go, or even smaller. You may have to build it into a couple modules that connect together, because I think you could fit, this is a single right here, I think you could fit just the turntable on there, but you'd have to have it accessed from another module. So you may have to put several modules together and design that whole system. Teeporter 201 asks if I ever heard of Wi-Fi tracks. Yes, I have, and I've heard good things about it. So I have not got a chance to try it, so I'm not going to give an opinion on it, but I have heard good things about it, and I think that it's something that I want to look forward to. And you're looking to do Wi-Fi throttle to make it easier on your kid. So that is something that definitely you can do with that, because of the Y-throttle protocol, if I can say that right. Andy's Indiana Trains ask if I've ever wired DCC to a Tommytech TM-TR02. It looks similar to the Kato Unitram stuff. So I haven't, but the good news is I don't think it would be incredibly difficult if you're willing to take apart the model a little bit. The key thing you have to do with a DCC conversion for a non-DCC ready thing is you have to isolate the motor. And a lot of times with these individual trucks, you're relying on pickups and just connections and not wires. So basically, if you use a little Kapton tape, you can probably isolate the motor and the pickups and everything, and then just have the pickups going into the decoder, and then have the connections back to the motor to where it's only connected to the decoder. So just looking at it, I definitely think you could do it. So if you are looking to have your question answered on next month's Q&A, here's how you do it. You put the question down in the comments of this month's Q&A right here. Get those in as fast as possible so I can get that video starting to be produced, and I can get answering more of you guys' questions. This is something I really enjoy, and I like trying to help as many people as I can into this hobby and helping them when they're in here. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, drink some coffee, and happy railroading.